Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor. Welcome to my YouTube station. It's the home of the 5 minute or less video. I worked at IRS for a decade. I've been in private practice for 4 decades. I have been doing this for 50 years in August. Lucky me. I have a whole team of former IRS agents on staff. I've been on national news many times. You can see me in a suit and a tie and looking pretty at 777irs.com, and that's 777irs.com. I've probably been on the news 8 times in the last 3 months. You can see all my news interviews there, and more importantly, my team of former IRS agents. I do this for 3 reasons. A, so you don't get ripped off, especially for offers and compromise. God, there's so many fraudsters out there. And second, I try to give you good information, educational information when I can. And third, insider information, tips from really a former IRS agent. We've been doing this a long time, and it's been recent. I've had a few calls. I never thought of doing a YouTube on this, to be honest with you. And then a couple people called us, I don't know, about 3 or 4 months ago and said, hey, you're former IRS agents, will you review our tax returns? We're not sure of some things, and we're not sure of our auditor or our CPA or our accountant. Can you come out? So, being former IRS agents, we know what IRS specifically is looking for. So if you have a corporation or a partnership or even an individual tax return, and you want someone who is a former IRS agent who's now on your side wanting to come and look at those returns, we certainly will. We can kind of give you a report of what we found. A lot of times what we do is we don't really look at all the back end stuff that got to be what it got to be on the return unless you ask us. But usually we have a really good idea by looking at a tax return if it's audit worthy. Just so you know how your tax return is going to go down if it's audited. All tax returns, really all the numbers, it means one big diff score really to Internal Revenue Service. What that means is IRS scans your return, it came out with a number, and it says, hey, this is audit worthy. Well, how did that get to be audit worthy? Well, we know how it got to be audit worthy because we've looked at thousands of returns. So what that basically means is, when you put your gross income in or your adjusted gross income and you take your expenses, credits, and all this stuff that you take, there is an algorithm that IRS reads these returns according to national standards and norms. And it's okay to be some ranking points outside these so-called scores. You can be high in one, low in another. IRS is really looking for kind of a consistency in that. Just so you know what happens if your corporate return, partnership return, or individual return is pulled for a high diff score, it goes down to a local field office where you have very higher graded revenue agents usually look at returns. That's if they're large cases. And they scan over the return with their eye. Yeah, they eyeball the return. So if we're eyeballing returns for IRS, and Herb Canner on our team actually did that. He would eyeball and say, yeah, I want this, this, and this return. So once again, the computer goes ahead, pulls the return out, and a human actually looks at the return and says, yes, this is really audit worthy. Not all returns that are pulled are audit worthy. Anyway, if you want your return looked at by a former IRS agent or agents, you're welcome to contact us. Of course, all information is very confidential, but a lot of times it can save you really the embarrassment of going through a long IRS audit. We do these with large corporate returns, partnership returns, and large people of high worth on their corporate tax returns. Anyway, give me a subscription if you would. We're really good. We've been doing this a long time. I have been doing this for 50 years. So if you're wondering why I'm not in this nice coat and tie and this background and having the scripts read, I don't need to. My office is across the street. You can see my newscasts. Like I said, at 77irs.com. I'm always ready to rock and roll. I can answer questions that you have. After 50 years, I hope I'm good at something. Give me a subscription if you would. Leave me questions. Thank you very much.